Alaska Teen Media Institute, I'm Reese James, and this is Zoom Room, a youth-produced podcast where we zoom in into a different theme or topic through interviews and conversations relevant to us, the youth of Alaska. Before we jump into the episode, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever, this episode is also available on YouTube. So if you're curious about what I look like, come on over and find out. And if you're already watching on YouTube, hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. In this episode, we're talking with local musician Grace C. Elliot. She describes her music as dream pop with influences of blues and jazz. And in 2020, she released her debut self-titled album, and earlier this year, she released a new single called Alive. Keep an eye and ear out as more music is on the way. She's had a busy summer, playing shows all over the state, including the Forest Fair in Gridwood, a free concert in Town Square Park, and Rock the Hill, an all-ages music festival at Hilltop Ski Area. ATMI producer Indigo Schlee sat down with Grace to talk about her music. In their conversation, Grace describes her journey in music, the Anchorage music scene, and a health scare in 2020 that informed some of her upcoming songs. But first, let's hear some of her music. Here's Grace C. Elliot performing Alive at the ATMI studio.
I got from grifters down in Dillingham. They swore it'd help me to forget, just as long as I don't think about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Still got that poster on my wall. Spiders call it home. Walk on the left side of the street, 'cause walking right hasn't been doing much for me. People turn and shake their heads. Leave it to me to help a stranger feel something. Yeah, 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 yeah. They long to feel alive. Took off my clothes on live TV. Woke up upset that it was only just a dream. And I think I saw your mom waiting tables at the Chinese restaurant. Still got that poster on my wall. And behind the hole you made it, I would fix it, but the spiders feel at home. They long to feel alive. 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 Oh, oh, oh. They long to feel, we long to feel alive. Yeah, 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 yeah. We long to feel alive, we long to feel alive. We long to feel alive.
That song was called Alive. Now let's get into Indigo's chat with Grace C. Elliot. They spoke on July 13th, the day after her show at Town Square Park, which was initially supposed to be headlined by Vanessa Carlton. Carlton had to cancel days before the event, but it continued on as a free show with additional local acts added to the lineup. Also, for those of you just listening to the episode, you'll be excited to know Grace's dog Chicken is with them in the studio. Tune in on YouTube to see this adorable ball of fur. Here's their conversation.
You played at Town Square Park in downtown Anchorage last night. Could you talk about how that went?
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is fun having Chicken here.
Mhm.
She's very curious.
Oh, she would like to smell the camera.
I watched the video of it this morning, and it's kind of weird watching yourself, you know. It's like living vicariously through yourself in a way, but I was so happy. I was like toddler joyous. I felt this feeling of like camaraderie because it was my first time playing with I guess I played with a band last weekend at Forest Fair. That was like my official first time with a full-on 5-piece band. Yesterday was a 6-piece band.
Bye, Chicken.
Chicken the dog, everyone. I think I've been selling myself short for a long time not playing with a band because that was just so much fun. There was a moment where we had time to kill. My buddy Cody, who's singing to the left of me, he's like, we got like 10 minutes left and we were almost done with our set. And I was like, I'm gonna dance. And so they just were playing a G chord for like 30 seconds and I'm just dancing on stage. And I never get to do that because it's always me playing piano. So if I start dancing, it's silent. It's just like no sound. So that was so special. The crowd was precious. Just seeing like Town Square fill up like that and getting to share these songs that were written in when I'm alone to then bring them out is it's just a crazy feeling. It did feel quite natural too. I was nervous as heck, but also I felt very at home. The stage, I went to my first music festival last year. I went to Bonnaroo and Lollapalooza, and it was like the same kind of stage as I saw at those festivals. And when I was at those festivals, I was just like dreaming. I was like, oh, taking notes, like I would do this, I would do that. And so to have the opportunity with Showdown being so generous and letting me, you know, play on a big stage like that was just incredible and has now set the bar is now a little bit higher for things I want to do and places I want to play.
Yeah, bigger and greater things ahead, huh?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I also love like the little intimate moments like we got to do here in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Was so sweet. And I've been playing for a long time, and I think it kind of hit me yesterday. There was a moment where I was singing, and this is going to sound so silly, but I kind of like was like watching myself doing the thing. And then I was like, Grace, you're doing something right now. Like, come back.
Yeah.
But I think because these songs are so like a part of me at this point, and we've also done a lot of like rehearsals, I was able to like take a step back while I was there and like almost, some people call it was dissociating or something, derealization. But it was sick. And I loved like just, I think there's something when you're doing something that is kind of scary or something that you've been waiting to do for a long time and there's anticipation and anxiety, that like raw human feeling really puts you like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you get kind of high off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards you're like kind of coming down. And I was coming down for like the next 12 hours and all my buddies were there. So we all got to just like goof around and hang out. But I was laying in bed last night, like still kind of like jittery, like, oh, that was so fun. And then, you know, you do the thing where you're like, and this is all the things I did wrong and this is where I messed up. But I think what makes up for that these days is just I've created this narrative in my head that I love messing up. I say that to myself. That way, like when I do, and it happens a lot,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
there's a little bit more like peace and joy and like why are we doing this? Like, in the first place, we're not doing this to be, this isn't a 9 to 5, like, rigid. Well, in a way, like, I was the boss. In a way. And to, like, just ease up on myself and laugh at myself and laugh with my friends that are playing music with me. So that was, like, an encapsulation of that whole experience. It was just, like, pure joy, a little bit of nerves, a lot of bit of nerves. Probably more nerves than I realized till after the fact. I was like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, I could imagine that's pretty amped up energy for that.
Amped up.
And you got to perform, like you were saying, like with your friends, like all these other local musicians, and how you got to share the stage with them. Like, how important is that to you? Like, what does that mean to you?
Oh, man, it's everything. I didn't realize it was everything. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever messed around with your buddies, like making YouTube videos or like just kind of creating nonsense for a void. Like, there wasn't ever going to go anywhere. Or like friends and I would play on, what was that, on like the photo booth?
Oh,
Taking
yeah.
the stupidest pictures ever. But there's like this pure joy of creating and just like, we're just goofing around, right? And that energy is so important to me. And I'm realizing that that's like actually the most important thing. And we were kind of talking about it before we hopped on the microphones, but I think more important than playing with the best musicians is playing with the people that I am the most myself around and the most happy and silly and goofy. Because at the end of the day, I think I'd rather put on like a very like heartfelt, fun, goofy performance than I would like a, you know, super perfect, polished, but I'm like kind of bored or obsessed in like a maybe a more rigid kind of way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And you were this show was supposed to be, you were gonna open for Vanessa Carlton, but she had to cancel the event, and then it pivoted to become a free concert for local musicians. Could you walk us through the experience of getting that gig and hearing that Vanessa Carlton had to cancel, and then it becoming an event with all these just Alaskan bands for free?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It honestly didn't really like change much for me, because at the end of the day, I was going to get to play with all these amazing players. Vanessa Carlton, I was kind of stoked to like meet another piano pop girly, you know, but I'm not going to lie. I hope this is okay to say on the record, but I think I preferred it the way it was.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot more heart, and the other musicians that played, the other bands, so good. Like, unbelievably good. Huss, Bethlehem Shalom, Evil Wizard Collective, just these like kids ripping jazz music. And then Sundog closed it out. I don't know, I think we needed it. I think Alaska needed that when it happened. I'm like a very trust timing person. Like, I don't really question things too much. Like, when she called me, she's like, I got something to tell you, the people of Showdown. And I was like, we're not playing anymore. She's like, Vanessa's not going to be here, but we're still doing it. And I was like, oh, cool. We still get to have fun. So, yeah, I don't know. We last night we all went out to dinner after, and I brought out my Gracie Elliot activity sheets and my crayons, and I had everyone team up in groups of 2, and we played the head and body game, where like you draw a head on a piece of paper, the other person can't look, and then you flip it over. Someone draws a body, they can't look, and then you open it up, and you have like this creature, this baby that you just made. Maybe the first one we named Vanessa Carlton. The second one we also named Vanessa Carlton. I don't know. So now there's just kind of this like Vanessa Carlton's like this fictitious creature to us, and we're all having a lot of fun with it.
That's really funny.
I was curious, like I asked Showdown, like they have this massive poster with her face on it, and then Bethlehem's name and my name on it. I'm like, who gets that? They were like superimposing like Bethlehem's face on it or something. I don't know. It's just tomfoolery, honestly.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun though. It's important to have those kind of moments with local musicians and
Yeah.
having a highlight for local musicians too.
It was cool to meet them. I haven't met a lot of the people that were there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, you like hear about them, but the thing in Alaska is like, especially in the summertime, I don't really get to enjoy local music because I'm always playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're done playing, it's really hard to have the energy to like want to go out and do more. So any opportunity to listen to other Alaska musicians is such a treat and so important, I think. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
What has like been your experience with the Anchorage music scene? I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but maybe you could add more about it in general.
I love the Alaska music scene. I feel like anything, it's what you make it. Like it's easy for it to be non-existent and abysmal a little bit if you're not like kind of immersing yourself in the opportunities that are here. But like Nick Bituminous with like the Monday Night Jazz at Fire Island. I haven't been to that one in particular, but there's like, you know, like Emma Hill's songwriting circles, and Shane Russell holds like a song circle every, like there's pockets in the community to meet these people, honestly, like really quickly too. And it's not like gate kept here. Like the people that are worth meeting, if you want to meet them and if you want to play around town, it doesn't take long to make those connections. And I think there's something so beautiful about that. There's no like weird hierarchy that I've experienced, at least. Like it seems kind of like equal opportunity if you are good, you know, or like wanting to get out there and do and share your music. And my favorite audiences are here because they're so weird.
Mm-hmm.
They're so strange and like silly and authentic. The Alaskan way of existing is very, I think about it. I think I said this the other day on an interview thing, but I was like, Alaska doesn't care about you that much. Like bears will just eat you, you know. It's like if we didn't have technology, we'd just freeze. Like it's an intense place, and I think that brings out like an authenticity in the people that live here. So I think that plays into the community a lot too. And you can be kind of like experimental and try things out. It's a good way. I think Alaska is a really great place to step into yourself. Because I stepped away, like I was in the States and stuff, and there was like this weird pressure to fit a mold, specifically the places that I was playing. And what I don't know, it was intimidating, and it was hard for me to like mold myself to something as opposed to just kind of being more authentic and being okay with being really bad for a while too. Alaskans are forgiving.
Yeah.
Some people have been quite loyal because I've stumbled a lot. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my long-winded answer on the community.
Yeah, it's good to hear that that's like a pleasant experience that you've had with the music scene here.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I grew up here, so for a long time it was like if you were under 21, you couldn't really play anywhere unless you snuck in or had your parent with you.
Yeah, I was going to ask about how important are these all ages / underage concerts compared to like the 21 plus bar shows and things like that.
They are so important. I'd say like the most important thing that we're doing right now in the community, because if like a 12-year-old comes up to me and likes what I'm doing, that is crazy. I'm like, what? Because they're honest, you know? They're like the most honest audience is like a kid. But even like teenagers or, you know, people just under 21, they're so freaking cool. Like just I love sharing tunes with them and you know, seeing how it hits people, younger people versus like my audience is so cool because I got like people 80 plus, you know, and then I got like the young cool kids. And I like meeting the spectrum in person as opposed to just like the internet. It's like kind of polarized. Like the internet's like more young people. Live shows are more like of the older crowd. But these all ages shows, you get to see them all in one place. And it's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very awesome. Thank you for your insight about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess switching gears a little bit, let's talk about your career in music and, you know, what your experience has been and how your interests, like how did your career in music start? Like what was your spark for music?
Aw, you ask really good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. These are fun to answer. And I'm sure I'm like such a kind of optimistic person. Like I have like a very rose-colored lens on things because I find that it makes life a lot easier to be optimistic and to kind of just go with things. So it's fun to answer these. And then I also think of my friends or people I've met along the way that would answer these questions probably a lot differently. Perspective is huge. But yeah, okay. So for my spark definitely was when I was a kiddo, I was like kind of mute. Like I didn't talk at all until I was 2. My mom was like pretty worried about me in that regard. Like, you know, my baby's not making any sounds at all. And I just like would sit alone all day. And then out of nowhere, I just started talking like full sentences. And then I started singing pretty quick. And I think it was like, I don't know if you've ever heard the term like glossolalia, but it's like a way for us to like get out things like stored stuff maybe in our bodies or our heads through our voices. So I think there was an element of that, just like it was like the purest form of expression. And I actually felt like I belonged to something because I was kind of like weird and I don't know, just like always in my own world. And when I would sing, I noticed like people would kind of gather and it'd create like community. And when I was like really young, I'd write in this journal about like the power of music and how it doesn't matter who the frick you are. Like we're all going to be in this room together. And it's like a common high, like a common, like we're all getting on this thing for 30 minutes. And that's epic. Like how often do we get to do that with people, you know, like truly experience like this sense of community. And so I think that's always been like a huge spark for me, is to like music being this unifying kind of healing thing. And then I just was like, yeah, like really bad for a long time at it, but I did it. And you know, my parents like really, I was so fortunate that they put me in music lessons, even though I faked them and I hated lessons. I was just like surrounded in music, you know? And then you just kind of find your voice by listening to people you love, emulating them at first, and then as the roster increases and you like more and more people, you pick little bits, and then eventually you kind of like find your own little thing. And then once I found that, like this thing that I hold pretty dear to myself, and I protect it. It's like a kid or something inside of me. Now that is like my greatest joy and highest excitement in life, is that thing that I found. And I hope to do it till I die. Like, and that's the cool thing about music, is it is in a way cradle to grave. No matter what happens, like you can, even if it's just in your head, you know? So anyways, that's kind of like the spark, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really beautifully said about all those little like picking the pieces out of your art, like what artists you like to emulate and how that develops into this little beautiful thing that you have that's like your art, your music, your style.
Yeah,
that was just
really intimate.
It was really beautifully said. That made sense to me a lot.
We'll be right back with more of Indigo's conversation with Grace C. Elliot in just a moment. Alaska Teen Media Institute is looking for youth to join our team. As a youth producer, you can conduct interviews like the one you're listening to right now, edit audio, record voiceovers, help with scripts, and much more. And all of that is paid work. There are even opportunities to work remotely for those who aren't based in the Anchorage area. So if you're between the ages of 13 and 24, living in Alaska, and interested in joining ATMI, go to alaskateenmedia.org/join. You can also email us at news@alaskateenmedia.org. Before we get back to our interview with Grace C. Elliot, let's hear another song of hers. This is Don't Stop, performed at the ATMI studio.
Don't cry for me. I'm living on borrowed time. thinking about the love that you've got. 'Cause one day, oh, one day, you're gonna stop and realize that it comes right back around. So don't cry for me, baby, don't cry. Don't quit for me. It's always dusk before the dawn. And when it's dark to see it. Ooh, just close your eyes and think of me. Oh, and don't stop thinking about the love that you've got. 'Cause one day, oh, one day, you're gonna stop and realize that it comes right back around. So don't cry for me, baby, don't cry. And on the days that drag along, look for me in the songs you hear, in the people you hold dear. I'll be near.
What type of like music do you make? How would you describe what kind of music you make?
I'd say it's like, I call it dream pop, but it's kind of a bag of mixed nuts. It's kind of the however I'm feeling that week. But yeah, mostly like dreamy. Music production's like my main thing these days, so it's fun to like play with very experimental sounds, and I tend to have a very like verbed out vocal, very like breathy and soft, like Maisie Star vibes kind of. I was influenced a lot by Lorde, and I thought Lorde was cool when she came into the pop scene because she wasn't hitting these crazy high notes. She wasn't like over singing because she knew kind of like what she had was this cool new thing, and I think that she kind of like changed pop music a little bit because girls started becoming a little bit more like the alto started coming out of the woodworks, you know?
Yeah.
I just heard an interview with her the other day, and she actually said, she was talking about like the music production and the vocal production. She's like, I'm not the best singer. And I thought that was so interesting because she's so her. And I think there's something to be said like about not like fixating so much on like, oh, I got to hit these crazy high notes and all these runs. It's kind of this like pure tone. And that's why I call it like dream pop, because it's a little bit less. It's I think it lends more into like a long drive or like spacing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think like also your voice is very soulful, and you have like the ability to hit all those little runs, but like I feel like there's voices that are like, oh, I do jazz and this is how jazz sounds, and you have like a voice
which
that's
is
very
cool.
like, yeah, like soulful and able to do those runs that are like in R&B or blues and things, but then like it's put into this like dream pop genre of like soft piano poppy girl music, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting like to hear and listen to artists and to see like what influences they kind of gather from and what they sort of come out with their voice or their music with. So yeah, that was something that I picked up on, that I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because some artists are like, I do country, that's like all I do, and then other artists are like, I mix it up, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you for. It's so cool hearing someone like perceive the thing, because I'm like, in my head it sounds a certain way, but when people explain it back to me, it's super cool.
Yeah, because you get caught up in your own like thought of like, oh, I this is how I sound and this is how this song sounds, and
It's like looking at your face every day.
yeah, you're like, I don't actually know what my face looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
This is probably the same thing with music.
Mhm.
How would you describe your songwriting and producing process?
So lately it's been, I'm like I kind of have this like secret formula, and it's like when I'm like, okay, Grace, it's time to write a song, or like I have a window of time,
Mhm.
I'll like sit down at the piano and I'll just start kind of noodling, playing chords, whatever, and then I'll find one, and I'll just like instantly start crying. I'm like,
Wow.
oh shit, we hit something. We hit something. And then that's usually once like I start to feel something in my, like, I guess like a somatic or like a body thing from it, I'm like, then I'll kind of start like humming along, or maybe instantly a sentence will come out. Usually I like to write most of a song just on the piano before I take it into Ableton. But also, it's so random. Like the process is quite manic. Sometimes it's like I wake up from a fever dream and I'm just like, next thing you know, I'm like sifting through bass sounds, and I feel so bad for the people I live with, because it is like, it's like a sound zoo constantly coming out of my room. But I'd say more common is just, yeah, like feeling that emotional uprise of something, and then writing most of it, and then taking it to Ableton and like dreaming it out, like making it kind of fit more into the universe. I think everything kind of starts like singer-songwriter-y a little bit, but I'm kind of bored of singer-songwriter stuff for me personally. I'm like definitely more interested in the produced, and I'm trying to incorporate that more into like a live situation too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the kind of music I like to listen to, is very like, I don't know. Yeah, just dreamy, overproduced stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
What song are you most proud of that you've made and worked on?
Oh, sad. Honestly, one of my favorite things I've ever worked on was this little EP I made that is gone forever.
No.
I know. Letter to, or note to anyone who makes music: own your own music. Because it just like vanished. But I called it my thank you EP, and it was something I made, and it's just a super intimate, it's just vocals. It's either like some of the tracks are like totally a cappella with like layered harmonies, or just gentle like synth pads underneath like pretty emotional words. And it was only like 6 minutes long, but it was my way of thanking a bunch of people that came and bought my original record, because I got real sick in 2020. But so the record came out June or July 2020, and I was like admitted into the hospital in June, and then I had like this crazy health battle for like the rest of that year.
Oh, wow.
And as a musician, like getting really sick is expensive, and we made a bunch of vinyls, and like I didn't even realize so many people, and I was like nothing at this point. Like I had never released any music, but we made enough money for me to like not be stressed about my medical bills, and all these people got my record. Anyway, so then after that I made this little EP, and I just called it the thank you EP, and it was so precious to me. And I like it now. These songs, they only really come out when I'm playing them live, but maybe I'll recreate them someday and put them on a bigger project. But I'm really excited about the songs that are on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'll ask you about those too. Like what's happening for the up and coming era of
Up and
Grace?
coming. I have goosebumps. Oh my God, I'm just so excited to I feel like I'm finally letting go of an era of just like the first record was all these songs that I wrote over the course of like years, and I just needed to get them out finally. But now when I sing them, I'm just like, oh, they're pretty outdated, and I think they represent like a totally different time in my life. But now I'm finally able to like process some really big things that happened to me in the past 5 years, and I'm finally able to write about them and feel them. And the songs I'm writing are like they're pretty intense. They're a lot of them kind of have this like life death theme to them, and so I think that's probably going to find its way onto the next record, is like, death and rebirth. I experienced a lot of like dichotomy between those two things in the past 5 years, and it's been so beautiful and epic to see like the commonalities between both sides of the spectrum, and then to incorporate that into the music. And so yeah, there's like this new kind of like neo soul influence, a little bit, but also a little bit like sassier. Like I find as I'm getting closer to 30, I'm speaking my mind a lot more. And that's also coming out in the music. I'm just kind of like, screw it. We're just going to say the thing that I've been scared to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's impactful for some people too, to be like, I can say whatever I want to say. And
you can.
Especially as an artist, like being able to be like, this is my art. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah. And it's not for everyone too.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I really struggled with for a long time, was like making music that everybody would like, which is just so unfair to art.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
If you don't want to talk about this, we can just edit this part out. But if you don't mind talking about what happened kind of in 2020, like you released a full album in 2020 and then put out a new single this year, but that was 5 years of a gap. Like what was going on in your career? It was
like incubation period or something, or
Yeah.
like some kind of like Neo in the Matrix orb or whatever. Just
okay.
So in 2020, this is actually kind of a crazy story. Like it doesn't feel real at all, even saying it out loud, but I definitely don't mind sharing about it because it is kind of like just this absurd time of my life. But I was accidentally drinking poison water in Vegas. We were getting these jugs delivered to our house because everyone's like, don't drink the tap water in Vegas. And this is also in 2020. So all we were doing was mountain biking in the desert in 100 degrees and drinking water. I don't know. But we were drinking a lot of water too. But we were also super healthy. Like, I don't know, sober kids just eating like plant-based diets. Like young, I was 23, just doing all the things that like on paper are really good for you. But I had like just feeling so sick. And then I went to the doctor during the pandemic and told her about what I was feeling. And I went home with a packet on what to do when having a panic attack. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just went to the doctor in 2020 for having panic attacks. I felt like such a dummy and so bad, for the people that were like actually needing care. And then but I had a bunch of blood work done anyways. She calls me 18 hours later. She's like, you need to go to the emergency room immediately. I've never seen liver enzymes this high.
Oh, wow.
I was dying.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
This water, it had like basically jet fuel in it is what because it was like advertised as high alkaline water. And instead of like going through the process, whatever that people do to achieve that, they were just dumping this chemical in it. And so many people were injured, and some people like didn't make it, and dogs and stuff, and it was just like insane stuff. Really dark, like for a lot of people. So that happened. I went into liver failure like 4 times. And each time there was no care in Vegas for me, so I had to get medevac to LA.
Wow. So
I'd fly in a private jet to Million Airport. I was like, I'd never been to LA before. I was like, hell yeah. This is like my introduction. I'm like, this feels right. They're like rolling me out in a gurney. I'm just making jokes. I'm like so yellow. It's like not well. But I'm like kind of having a blast. It's so weird. I just remember having to pee really bad too on that ride. But it was so weird because every time I go to LA, and we didn't know it was the water until like a year later. So every time I go to LA, it was this mystery because I would just heal. Like in a couple days, all my enzymes would go down and I'd be back to normal. But I'd go back home to Vegas and it would happen again and again. And the thing is like once and they were testing me for all these crazy things because they're like, what is going on with this young girl? We've never seen this before. Usually like they see that if someone's taking like bad vitamins or something. So they tested all these things. Everything came out fine. But the thing is, it's like your liver gets hit so many times. Eventually like your cells just are like, dude. So they would take like CT scans, and there was this thing on my liver, and they're like, it's fine. Most women have those. But they were just being very invasive at this time and doing biopsies and stuff. And my mom's like, just take a biopsy. Can you just take a biopsy of that? Like, just to see what it is? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I did the biopsy and it came back as cancer, which was crazy.
Oh, wow.
But I think there's kind of like a message about advocating for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if my mom and I didn't ask for that, they wouldn't have found it.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, like, if it would have spread or not. So yeah, then I had to have like a whole surgery, and they were actually able to just like bloop bloop bloop, cut it on out.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
10 hours. I was like, whoosh, ripped open.
Wow. What a journey is that?
It was crazy. It was, and then it wasn't until March of 2021 that my partner at the time was laying in bed, and he's like looking at the news,
Mhm.
and he sees like, this company and all these people with these symptoms that were similar to mine. He's like, I think there might be something here. So then, it was that was like 5 years later, and we've just been kind of like looking into that more, and it's been wild. I try not to like, there's a lot of like drama, I guess, around that.
Oh, yeah.
The guy filed like bankruptcy, but I try to stay kind of removed from it, because it's like, I don't know, life goes on. I'm doing like all these things, but I think there's justice there being served to the right people, and but it was a crazy time. And so I think earlier when I said like I'm finally processing, I don't know if you've read the book The Body Keeps a Score or heard of it, but basically it's just how our body holds on to trauma. And I have found it's okay to not rush the healing process. It's okay to take 5 years, because I was so like positive and happy during the whole process, and just like getting through it, that I don't think I ever allowed my body to like express the pain it was going through. So now it's so weird. Like every June, I kind of like something kind of hits, and I just get like really, I feel weird. And I've been working with like, in therapy to realize like, no, your body remembers these things. And that's been pretty interesting to like kind of talk to my body, and almost like this, like tapping back into that in a healthy way, and like channeling it, and then writing about it, and being able to finally like let go and be like, okay, we're good. We're safe now, kind of thing.
Wow, yeah, that's quite the story, quite the journey about all.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It was crazy.
That's just really an incredible. I'm like processing that. Like that's really an incredible like tale of.
It is a tale.
Yeah, of
indeed.
like people's 2020 and like your 2020.
I know. It does feel kind of surreal.
Yeah.
I don't think it takes away though either from like anybody's. I think it was an experience for everyone regardless,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was funny being in the hospital too, and being like, nurses. I was in the ICU, and they're like taking care of me and stuff, and I'm like, Mom, why aren't they need to go take care of those like sick people over there. And she's like, Grace, you're sick.
You're in the hospital.
But it's weird how it was such like a weird sickness, because I didn't feel sick. I honestly felt just kind of high, like the death.
Interesting. Like
the near death kind of experience is just a very like trippy kind of. And the music that I was writing at the time that I was releasing was a little bit like trippy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure that gives you like a really, if you like, playing around with sound and playing around with all that has a very interesting space. It's
so cool. It is kind of this like other world we get to tap into.
How cool.
Yeah.
How cool. So you won the #Output Collab Producer Challenge in March 2025. What was that process like, and what does that award mean to you?
That was insane. It was kind of an accident, nonchalant situation that we made alive. I worked with, I don't know if you've ever heard of Glaves here in town. He's an amazing producer. He's worked with like Medium Build and Bethlehem and Quinn Castro. I think he's worked with Quinn. But regardless, just so good. Sorry, I almost cussed. I get passionate about Glaves. I'm just like such an incredible person. Anyways, I had fully Flesh Out Alive. I made it during Parlor in the Round. It was like a dare, it's like Parlor in the Round is so stressful and you just like write whatever. But I was like, I think we have something here. And so I brought him this track, and then, I don't know, he made it way better. But he put me onto some plugins that we were using for sound samples. And one of them was this one called Arcade. And there was a specific sound suite in there that I really liked. I didn't really know if we used it or not. But anyways, there was this challenge that came out after I released the song. They're like, input a song that you use dark pop on. And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. I didn't know if I actually used dark pop, honestly. I was like, got nothing to lose. And then like 2 months later, I received an email. I was like, congratulations, you won this challenge.
Oh, wow.
And dude, this challenge was insane. Like I just kind of willy-nilly did it. But as soon as I got that, I called Glaves. I was like, Glaves, did we use dark pop on that track? And then he quickly like pulled up the file, and for it was like 10 seconds, I used like a bass frequency from that sample pack. I was like, oh, nice. But yeah, the I know, seriously, it was like I was lucky. But the prize is like, it's one of those things like, is this real? They sent me a bunch of new studio gear, like brand new studio monitors, new mic, MIDI keyboard. I got access to all their software. A huge like level up in the world of Gracie Elliot music production. And then they are flying me down to LA next month, and I get to work with Nova Wave, which is this sick production duo that worked on like everyone's music. They just did the Beyonce one with so it's like they have a pretty amazing like track record, and I haven't really been in that like ring, I guess you could say, yet. And I get to meet up. So the prize is like get to work with them in this like state-of-the-art studio. They put me up in a little hotel, and I get to meet like marketing people and agencies, and yeah, it's weird, like this little Alaskan, and they don't know who the song belongs to. Like when they're picking the song, I talked to the people afterwards, like, why did you pick Alive? And she's like, yeah, no, we just had these criteria. But I just think it's so cool. Like, what are the odds that they pick someone from Alaska who's a girl? Because these are like 2 female producers. And I've never worked with women in the studio. So I'm just like, oh, this is so exciting. And yeah, I'm just excited to see like their flow, like how they go about. And I'm going to bring them some of my new tracks, the ones I was talking about that are kind of like falling into this more like introspective kind of neo-soul type feel. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Lots of good stuff on the frontier, hey? Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
And you're playing the Rock Hill concert on July 19th. What are you most excited about for that?
I can bring chicken.
Oh, yay. Yeah. Good old chicken.
Good old chicken. She's so passed out. She likes it here. She's had a long
day of listening to music.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to have my buddies with me again, too. So kind of another band experience.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you were able to talk to us today. My last question is, what is some advice that you give to someone or an Alaskan youth wanting to pursue a career in music here in Alaska?
Oh, that almost made me cry. I don't know why. Oh, just don't stop. Like, don't. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I guess I'm just thinking about myself being like so alone. Like, leave your house. Yeah, leave your house. Go meet people. People want to see people win.
Yeah.
Just don't stop. There's so many reasons to not stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to make music.
Yeah, and like be okay with being bad, right? Like I'm the kind of person, like if I'm not instantly good at something, I just get so mad. I'm like, I gotta be good at it immediately. But that's just not how these things work. Like, and the real good stuff comes from a real good place, you know? And sometimes finding that is rocky. But yeah, I'd say there's more communities now for people that are underage, and laugh. Like, be around people that make you laugh so hard you cry, or cry so hard you laugh. Either way, feel like, you know, I think find people that you feel safe to feel around and create around. Find out what makes you feel most alive, most creative, and then like don't let go of that thing. Yeah, but just get out there. Because I wish if I could go back in time, you know, I would have tried to make more friends and not be so introverted and shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for talking to me, and it's been a really good conversation. So
I know this has been my favorite interview ever.
great. Wow.
You're just so sweet, and you hold so much space, and I'm such a chatty Kathy. Like I don't realize how chatty I am until someone actually holds like space. I'm like, whoa.
Now I can talk.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, I'm so glad you came here and sang some beautiful music for us. You're a great performer.
Thank
And
you.
we're excited to hear about more things for Grace C. Elliot.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've come a long way since strawberry fields in dark side of the moon. Go on, you crazy child. Mississippi waits for We got the message in our hands, hang up the phone, lend a hand and make a plan to make amends. Man, oh me, oh my mama, she was right about the men in cheap disguises, eluding all around the sky. Painted on the ground. We won't back down anymore.
That was Sea Shanty by Grace C. Elliot, performed in our studio. You've been listening to Zoom Room, a production of Alaska Teen Media Institute. Our show's theme is by Kendrick Whiteman, with additional music from Devin Struckengost. Video editing by Vermillion Reed, Michael Hunter, and Logan Earhart. Alaska Teen Media Institute is based in Anchorage, Alaska. We would like to acknowledge the Dena'ina people whose land we work on. This episode of our podcast was made possible with funding from Rasmussen Foundation through the Arts and Education Fund, administered by the Alaska State Council on the Arts, with additional support from the Atwood Foundation and the Alaska Center for Excellence in Journalism Fund at the Alaska Community Foundation. The views expressed in this program do not necessarily represent the views of our sponsors. Thanks to our listeners who contribute to our programs and help us leverage additional funds and grants. If you'd like to support youth voices in Alaska and help us keep our podcast going, you can go to alaskateenmedia.org/donate. You can also help by subscribing to, rating, or writing a review of our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Every little bit helps us get our stories out there. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all sorts of updates. For Alaska Teen Media Institute, I'm Reese James. Thanks for listening.